Welcome back to my YouTube channel Medical Classes by Srinidhi Kumar Acharya. So don't forget to subscribe my channel and also give your valuable comments. So as we know, we are discussing about the series of samskaras, and we have done with the two basic information of the samskara. Two classes we have took. Then the individual samskara like Jatakarma samskara, Dugdapana samskara, Dolashana samskara, Jalapuja samskara, Namakarana samskara. So this we have already covered. So today we will have another samskara which is explained in Kashyapa Samhita. None of the other Samhitas explain these samskaras. Of course, the Hindu religious books explain these samskaras with their own understanding. But Kashyapa Samhita explains this samskara that is called as Suryodhaya Darshana and Chandra Darshana samskara. Suryodaya Darshana and Chandra Darshana Samskara. So we will look into these samskaras in detail. So what Kashyapa says is, in Kashyapa Kilastana, 12th chapter, he says, Ataha kalu shishor jatasya tatkarmanya abhinurte pratama ebamasi krita raksha homa mangala swastasya suryodaya darshanoho pastanam pradoshe chandramasaha. This is the reference. Kashyapa Kilastana, 12th chapter, 3rd sloka. So, what is this Suryodhaya? It is not Surya Darshana Samskara, it is Suryodhaya Darshana Samskara. Okay, rising sun. So, this procedure is conducted during the first month of the neonate, where the baby is brought out of the house or home and exposed to the rising sun and the moon for the first time. The first, here the baby is brought out of the Sutika Gara to the home. See, actually what happens is, this also explains the gradual exposure of the baby. At the time of the delivery, what we are doing is baby and mother will be there in the Sutika Gara. Okay, so they will be there only till the Shuddha, that is till the 12th or 13th day, they will be there in the Sutika Gara itself, according to Ayurveda. Okay, so then they will be brought into the home environment. When they brought into the home environment, then we will do the Namakarana Samskara. Okay, so then from the home environment, now the baby is first down brought to the courtyard of the home. Okay, that is in front of the home, courtyard of the home. Now if you see next Nishkramana Samskara, where the baby has been taken into the temple, that means out of the home. So nicely explained in Ayurveda that baby has to be exposed to this external environment very slowly. Okay, so in that process, this is the process where baby will be brought out of the home and into the courtyard of the home and exposed to the external environment. So which explains the gradual exposure of the baby to the external environment. So scientifically it is explained. Baby should not be exposed to the external environment at once, because it will have problems with the adjustment. Now, after birth, baby gets stabilized by all the means at the end of 1 month. So this procedure has to be done on the procedure should be done at 1 month. Okay, 1 month, which indicates completion of the neonatal period. So 1 month, according to the contemporary science, it completes the neonatal period. So that means only after completion of the neonatal period, baby has to be brought into the courtyard. Okay. So in the early neonatal period and up to completion of neonatal period, baby should be there in the home itself. It should not be brought out of the home, because there is risk of so many infections and baby is vulnerable for so many of environmental hazards, etc. So thereafter, baby should be exposed to the sun rays for the first time. So when it is brought to the courtyard, then it is practiced to expose to the sun rays for the first time. Okay. And similarly, Kashyapa says that in the night hours, we have to expose the baby to the moonlight. In the night hours, we have to expose the baby to the moonlight. That details we will see now. First, look into the Suryodaya Darshana. Suryodaya Darshana is traditionally it has been practiced nowadays also in the Orthodox families or traditional families, and even in the village area. So they used to practice. Usually, the maternal uncle has to bring the baby outside for the first time. This is the right of the maternal uncle. Okay, so it's the maternal uncle who bring the baby for the first time to outside and expose the baby to the sun rays. This is actually considered as a traditionally it is considered as the right of the maternal uncle. Okay, of course nowadays this samskara is practiced with the religious sense. Nobody knows the scientific importance. So nowadays, this is clubbed with the Namakarana Samskara. Usually, nowadays, this will be clubbed with the Namakarana Samskara. Again, this is for the purpose of convenience without any scientific importance. Otherwise, it has to be done at the age of 1 month. And if you are going for Namakarana Samskara at 1 month, after 10 days, then 1 month we have to go, after 1 month, completion of 1 month, we have to go for what you say, the Surya Darshana Samskara. But you have to perform two functions. In the present day practice, I am telling, when you follow it ritually, we have to do two functions. Therefore, they club together. Okay. Namakarana Samskara and Surya Darshana Samskara clubbed together and done on the same day. Of course, if you do so, there is no scientific importance. Scientifically, it is incorrect. Again, Hindu religious books, that is Dharma Sindhu Sara, it says that this should be done on the 3rd month. There is some difference of opinion. According to Dharma Sindhu Sara, it says that it should be done on the 3rd month of the life. Okay. Now, first we will start with the scientific understanding. Okay. Now we will have the scientific understanding of this particular samskara, how it is relevant in the present day practice, and what actually the message this is giving for the parents and also to the society. So first we will see Pradoshe Chandramasa, that is exposure of the baby to the moonlight. Exposure of the baby to the moonlight. Now, before exposure of the baby to the sunlight, previously, it has to be habituated for the exposure to the moonlight. Okay, Pradoshe Chandramasa. In the night time, it has to be exposed to the moonlight. So now, this shows that first baby has to be exposed to the soothing rays of the moon, followed by the sharp rays of the sun. Okay, therefore Chandra Darshana should be done in the beginning, and later it should be followed by the Surya Darshana Samskara. Now, why we have to expose the baby to the moonlight? Simply, is it a ritual or a traditional ritual, or something scientific is there? Yes, a lot of scientific explanations are there. What is that? As for the Vedic hymns, if you see in the Purusha Sukta, it is very clearly mentioned. Chandramo manasi jatat jatat teksho ajayataha mukadindrascha. Okay, Chandramo manasi jataha. So, as for the Vedic minds and also as for Ayurveda, Manas is formed from Chandra. Manas is formed from the Chandra. In the Loka Purusha Vada, it is very clear that Chandra, who is present outside in the universe, he is represented as Mana inside the body. Now, soothing rays of the moon brings the mental therefore, always the soothing rays of the moon that brings the mental relaxation and also stability of psychological facets in the baby. Not only in the baby, even for the adults. Okay. Now baby will be happy, and this is also act as a gradual exposure to the baby to the soothing light rays before exposing to the hot rays of the sun. If you expose the baby to the moonlight and if you show the baby moon, most of the time you might have been observed, baby will be very, very happy. Okay. So it starts asking the moon also, and it will again cry, please bring the moon. So if you see that traditionally our grandfather, grandmother, etc. So they used to show the moon to the baby at the night hours. Okay. By looking at the moon, baby will forget everything, stop crying and will start laughing, or sometimes keep on looking at that golden color moon. Okay. So traditionally, we find that Indian mothers showing the moon when the child is crying at night hours. Okay. So it's commonly seen that babies enjoy the moonlight. Now, what is the significance is moon has got intimate relationship with the earth and it rotates around it. We know that. Okay, moon is the one which rotates around the earth. So therefore it has got some intimate relationship with the earth also. Now, strength of the moon goes on increasing during the Shukla Paksha and strength of the moon goes on decreasing during the Krishna Paksha. Okay, so this has got direct relationship on the psyche of the person. Not only baby, even the adults. Okay. So usually, hence, what actually happens is during the full moon and non-moon days, Purnima and Amavasya, full moon and non-moon days, if you see, you can observe some of the kids, they exhibit mild psychological disturbances in their behavior, like overactivity, excess crying, irritability, etc. It's usually appreciated by the grandmother and grandfather, etc. Okay, they will usually say, oh, he start doing this irritation, crying and all those things because Amavasya is coming. Okay, so this is normally appreciated. The reason is during the Amavasa, Krishna Paksha, the strength of the moon is go on decreasing, and the same has been reflected over the psyche of the child also, and as a result, child will be either irritable or crying, etc. Similarly, during the time of Purnima, full moon days, the strength of the moon is go on increasing, and as a result, sometime a growing neonate may or infant may show the signs of hyper excitability or overactivity, etc. So this is commonly appreciated in the day-to-day practice. Although we don't have, although contemporary science don't have a particular scientific evidence for this, but this is commonly seen matter or fact in the day-to-day practice. Ayurveda has got the explanation for the same because Chandramo Manasi Jataha. Okay, Chandra is responsible for the strength of the Manas. Therefore, when strength of the Chandra is increasing, child is also showing some of the hyperactivity, and when the strength of the moon is decreasing, like in Krishna Paksha, child is also showing some irritability, crying, etc. Psychological changes. And further, the strength of the Chandra is quite obvious because during this, Chandra is able to shake the ocean also. We know that during Purnima and Amavasya, what actually happens in the ocean. Okay, so ocean also moves out during Purnima and moves in during the time of Amavasya. This is quite commonly seen. So therefore, it again suggests that moon has got direct relationship over the earth and also the people living there. So therefore, Chandra Darshana Samskara. So this helps to uh, identify all such changes. Number one. Number two is Chandra is present far away and baby is viewing at Chandra. And this is also one of the very easy method of testing the macular fixation or accommodation reflex. Child, if the child is able to view the moon, that's a good thing because baby is able to accommodate a structure which is present such a far away, millions of miles. Okay, so that suggests that child is able to accommodate, and also the macular fixation. It is also one of the tests for the macular fixation. Now look at the importance of Suryodaya Darshana Samskara. Now this indicates the completion of the neonatal period because Surya Darshana Samskara should be done at the age of 1 month. And previously to that we have to go for Chandra Darshana Samskara. So this indicates that completion of a neonatal period and onset of the infancy. So this is a period where the neonatal period has been completed and thereafter there is onset of infancy. So this is a reminder for the first month completion of the baby. Just okay. And testing for the development of the child during the first month. Okay, now we have to see the developmental milestones of baby during the first month of the life. Okay, so what happens in the first month of the life? First month of the life, testing for the development of the child, look at the objects. Usually child start looking at the objects during the first month because head control will be attained to some extent. Okay, because this is a simple method of testing the head control of the baby. Neck control will be usually completed by 3 months and baby is able to lift the head actually after 1 month. Okay, so now this is one important thing. So the motor developmental milestones, so the head control, neck control, then rotation of the neck, all these things will be explained by using this particular samskara. Another important thing is exposure of the baby to the ultraviolet rays of the sun to initiate the vitamin D3 formation. Now this is very important thing. Now we know that rickets is one of the disease of growing period of the baby. Okay, usually the rickets develop by 6 months of age. That means the growing plates of the bone, so they undergo start development, and as a result the bone length will increase, and as a result by the end of 1 year baby increase by its length by 25 centimeter, almost 50 becomes 75 at the end of 1 month, 1 year. So that means to increase the length, the bone has to grow, bone length has to increase. So ricket is a disease where the growing end of the bone is get affected, because growing of the end of the bone requires calcium, vitamin D3, etc. for its mineralization and all. So now when this is not happening, the growth will not be proper. Okay, so therefore ricket is called as growing end of the bone, and it's a disease of the early infancy, first 6 months. Now rightly Ayurveda says that Suryodaya Darshana Samskara should be done by 1 month. That means 1 month onwards, you have to continuously expose the baby to the sunlight, because there is a requirement of vitamin D3. The message is, it's not a one-time procedure. Surya Darshana Samskara is done and left. No, that is the initiation. Once you start, then it has to be completed daily. At least you have to expose the baby to the sunlight for 20 minutes. Contemporary science says that for the effective formation of the vitamin D3 and all, especially a newborn, neonate, after 1 month should be exposed to at least 20 minutes of the sunlight, and it should fall on the different parts of the skin of the baby. Therefore, always they say that newborn should be nursed, or neonate should be nursed, or infant should be nursed in a that room where through the windows the sunlight is coming. Okay, sunlight is coming. So this actually Surya Darshana gives a message that after 1 month you have to keep on exposing the baby to the sunlight, because the ultraviolet rays which are present in the sun, so they play a very significant role in the stimulation of the process of formation of vitamin D3. Aldosterol, dehydrocholesterol, which is present in the beneath the subcutaneous layer of the skin of the baby, will be now activated, and there is formation of vitamin D1, later D2, later D3, and this D3 is very important for the calcium absorption. So this is a known fact. The fact is, otherwise, if this will not take place in properly, that leads to rickets, nutritional rickets. Okay, of course, refractory rickets is another issue. That's a different other causes are there. As far as the nutritional rickets, so this is one of the important thing. Okay, so we have to take a very good message from this samskara, that after 1 month, exposure of the baby to the sunlight is must to prevent one of the growing bone or a disease of the growing infant, where growth plate of the bone is get affected, that is rickets, nutritional rickets, that has to be prevented. So this gives the message. If you keep on exposing the baby daily to the sunlight, you can effectively prevent the rickets. Now again, a Suryodaya Samskara says, Suryodaya means at the time of sunrise. Now talking about, Ayurveda says that especially expose the baby at a Suryodaya Darshana. That means when the sun is rising, because we know that during the sunrise, the light rays are having more ultraviolet or near to ultraviolet ray, and that has got very good effect. Of course, contemporary science nowadays says that the sunlight which is falling at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, that has got more ultraviolet rays, zenith angle, like that. So they explain different things. But what Ayurveda says is, even in the Atharva Veda also there is a explanation of Surya Rashmi Chikisa. Surya Rashmi Chikisa is a very good treatment for the Kamala. That is what Atharva Veda says. Similarly, in the Kamala also it is working by ultraviolet rays, physiological jaundice. So here also it should be understood that Surya Darshana is not mentioned. Suryodaya Darshana Samskara is mentioned. Therefore, raising sun, exposure of the baby to the raising sun is very important. So that provide the sun rays which are more closer to the ultraviolet range, and that has got more effect. Okay, so this is very important message which is given. Okay, so it is not one day procedure. Daily thereafter, baby has to be exposed to the sunlight. Some other examination point like doll's eye movement of the baby will be rechecked. Usually up to 1 month, baby will have doll eye movement. Okay, so which normally disappears by 1 month. So this the samskara is also an occasion to test the doll's eye movement, because the doll eye movement, if it is present after 1 month also, then it suggests some of the pathologies. For example, it may be intracranial tension is increased or hydrocephalus, like that. Okay, so persistence of the same indicates the hydrocephalus or increase in intracranial pressure. Another important thing is physiological photophobia. Physiological photophobia also develops in the early part, and later it will disappear by 1 month. So this procedure is again a check for the or recheck for the Dolce phenomena, rather physiological photophobia. Physiological photophobia usually baby develop because if you expose the baby to the sharp rays of the sun in the first part of the life, first days of the life, baby completely close the eyes. It will only open the eyes during the darkness. Okay, so this is a gift of God to prevent the injury to the retina and all. Now, Suryodaya, that means child has to lift to rising sun. Baby has to see the rising sun. Now baby has to lift the head. So that suggests now by this time the head control is attained, and you have to test for the head control. Of course, by 1 month baby cannot able to completely lift the head, but when it is hold in the vertical position, it is able to maintain the head in the midline. Okay, so now we have to see whether baby is at least able to hold the head in the midline or not. Okay, stably. And if that is there, that suggests that head control is developing normally. There is no other issues related to head control. Now, normal baby by the end of 1 month try to lift the head above the midline on the ventral suspension. Okay. So now suppose in case of Surya Darshana Samskara or Chandra Darshana Samskara, if the baby is not able to hold the head, that suggests that baby has got some problem. It may be hydrocephalus or some other conditions. Now again, both these samskaras are also the test for the macular fixation. Child is able to move the head to a certain degree. So macular fixation will be usually done. If you keep the baby in the room also, baby keep on looking at one particular object. Okay, by 1 month of age. Actually, it is try to do the macular fixation. Try to develop the macular fixation. Okay, same has been tested by this method also. So by this age, ability to fix a vision in a particular object will be completely achieved. So there are, okay, so these are some of the important tests that we can do. Head control, neck control, rotation of the movement, okay, macular fixation, then comes the physiological photophobia, then Dolce phenomena. So like this, different tests will be done, developmental assessment will be done by this age. Now, this part I also explained in the beginning also. Ayurveda give a very good message, important message through this samskara, that is exposure of the baby to the sunlight, which is very effective in the treatment or prevention of rickety-like conditions. Rickety-like conditions. Okay, it has to be done thereafter continuously, daily. Another is slow exposure of the baby. So, as I told in the beginning, 0 to 40 days for the baby will be there in the Sutikagara. Okay, isolated, undisturbed by everybody, undisturbed. From 30 days to 4th month, baby will be there in the Grihavasa. Baby will be in that also. In the 1st month, baby will be now come to the home environment, and that is during Namakarana Samskara and all, it will be there in the home environment. Now the baby has been brought to the courtyard in the 1 month. Now later, 4th month onwards, we will go for Nishkraman Samskara, that we will see in the next class. So like this is a very important message given through the Suryodaya Darshana Samskara and Chandra Darshana Samskara. Okay. So with this we conclude today. Don't forget to subscribe my channel and also give your valuable comments. So thank you very much.